But she's part of my family, Gus told him. My mother will miss her. I'll miss her. You will? Wendy asked. Gus nodded. Uh-huh. I even drew a picture for you. One of the armadillos nipped at Wendy's fingers. She began to cry. How will I ever get to leave here and see it? She asked. Tears spilled down her cheeks. So what's going on here, guys?
Wendy's crying because the armadillos bite her hand.
Nipped at her fingers, huh?
They nipped at her fingers.
Right. Look at Zoob again. He's laughing again, huh? Mm-hmm. Gus turned to Zoob. What can I give you to let her go? He emptied his pockets. He had 5 nickels, 3 pennies, and a stick of cinnamon gum. He held them all out to Zoob. Zoob brushed Gus's hands away. I need to feed my armadillos, or else they won't do as I tell them. If I let your sister go, who's going to keep them fed with cupcakes? I used to do the baking, but it's much more fun watching your sister do it all. You and I have a deal, Zoob went on. You made a trade because you were a greedy, selfish boy who wasn't thinking about his sister. Well, now you have to live with your decision. Zoob climbed onto an armadillo's back and began to ride away. Gus looked at his sister, busily making cupcakes. It was all his fault. He chased after Zoob and grabbed the armadillo by the tail. I'll feed the armadillos, he cried. Let her go, and I'll feed them all forever. Zoob put his finger to his chin. You instead of your sister, he asked. Gus released the armadillo's tail and gave it a friendly pat. Yes, I'm older and faster than she is, he explained. Let her go home, and I'll stay and feed them. Zoob smiled and stuck out his claw. It's a deal. You're mine forever to feed the armadillos. Gus shut his eyes, slowly reached out, and shook Zoob's claw. What's he doing here?
So, Gus doesn't know what to do, so now they're switching because Wendy is making them. So now Gus wants to help feed the armadillos, and then Wendy's home, and then
So Gus
gets that, and then
Gus is shaking the armadillo's hand here too, huh? So now he made another deal. He's gonna trade places with who?
Wendy.
With Wendy, right? You see that, Dominic?
Yeah.
You see that, Sienna?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
See what happens next, guys. There was a flash of lightning, and a clap of thunder. When Gus opened his eyes, he was face to face with a long line of armadillos. So the deal was made. Now he switched places, didn't he, with Wendy? They snapped their jaws open and closed. Hurry up and make those cupcakes, Zoob commanded. My pets are hungry, hungry, hungry. Gus glanced around. His sister was gone. Where's Wendy? He asked. Zoob scratched an armadillo behind the ears. She's back home. I always keep my end of a deal. Now you keep yours and feed my friends. So now he's feeding the armadillos. Who's making the cupcakes now?
Gus.
Gus. Wow. Gus reached for a cupcake to give to an armadillo. Suddenly, his feet lifted off the ground. He began to float. What's he doing here? Look, he's floating, huh?
He's floating.
No, no, no! Zoop cried as he jumped to grab hold of Gus. Come down here! What's happening? Gus called. Where am I going? He floated higher and higher, still holding the cupcake. Zoop frowned. Gus was far too high for him to reach. He waved a claw in the air. That must have been a sour deal I made just now, he shouted. You traded for bad to get the crayons and be rid of your sister. But then you traded for good to send her home. I should have known a trade for good wouldn't work. Gus looked down. The armadillos snapped at Zoob's feet. They were hungry. Zoob hurried to mix more cupcake batter. So look, here's Gus floating in the air. He's floating away somewhere, huh? And what is Zoob doing?
He's
Trying to what?
trying to get him back.
Trying to get him back. Gus soared higher. He was about to crash into a star when he floated right through it and out of the land of hungry armadillos. Then he fell and fell and fell until kerplunk, he landed on his bed. His sister was waiting for him. "You're home," Wendy shouted. She jumped up and down and gave her big brother a hug. Gus hugged her and smiled. "I am home," he said. "I really am sorry I traded you to Zoog. I just wanted my own crayons and paper and to draw by myself." Wendy nodded. "Sometimes I don't like having you around and want things all for myself too," she said. "I forgive you." She looked at her brother. "Do you still really want your own crayons and paper?" she asked. "Yeah," Gus grinned, "but not as much as I want you for a sister." Oh, cool.
Oh.
Wow, guys, so it's a happy ending, huh?
Yep. Yep.
That afternoon. Okay, we're not done yet.
Oh.
One last, let's see what happens. That afternoon, Gus and Wendy sat in the living room. They shared crayons and they shared paper. Gus drew Wendy a picture of her on a pony. Wendy drew Gus a picture of a dancing giraffe. They fought only once, when they both wanted the Lima Bean green crayon at the same time. Gus gave it to his sister first, and then he took a turn using it. And for a snack, Gus and Wendy shared the cupcake Gus had brought all the way from the land of hungry armadillos. Wendy got half, and Gus got half. And Zoob and the hungry armadillos got none. Wow, guys, what a story, huh?
Yeah.
So what did we learn about the story? About the land of hungry armadillos?
We learned that you have to share, not fight back.
Right.
And you did fight.
Well, do you guys fight
No.
with your brothers and sister and your sister? Sometimes.
Sometimes we do fight. Yeah.
And is that the right thing to do?
No.
'Cause you might get sent to the land of hungry armadillos if you wish something bad upon your sister or brother, right? So yeah, guys, definitely. I guess the moral of the story, what we should take from this story, is that it's important to share, right? Do we all agree on that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome, guys.